first wild card game played on the road, with the Bucs currently favored by 8 against the Washington football team. Bucs head coach Bruce Arians spoke on what success means.
We'll see. See how far this goes. It won't be if we don't win this one. That's for sure. And really, it's not going to be if we don't put rings on our fingers, because once you're in the tournament, that's what you're playing for. And so we did enough to get here, and now it will not be satisfying unless we finish it.
Max, Bruce not playing around there. It's like Super Bowl or bust. He pretty much said that. How much of Brady's legacy is on the line? You know, obviously playing Washington now, and it's his first time without Bill Belichick.
A lot of the legacy is on the line. This is a big legacy game, actually. And let me explain what I mean. It sounds ridiculous. 6-time Super Bowl champion, the greatest of all time, still balling at 43. It's unheard of at the position, right? Defied my Cliff prediction now by 2-3 years. And he had an excellent season. I got to tell you what I'm seeing. He was not just competent with his weapons. He was excellent. That's true. And what were the what is a success this season for Tom Brady? Let's start there. You got to make the playoffs with a team that went 7-9 with a quarterback that gave the other team 112 points 2 years ago in Jameis Winston through 30 interceptions. You bring in even a competent quarterback, you got to win 9 games. The over-under was 9.5. I took the over. I figured he'd win 10. He won 11. And the team is peaking right now. I would say you got to win a playoffs game. If you win a playoff game, you could say, okay, you can't really be criticized. What would be a success? You get to the AFC Championship game. I know they want to win a Super Bowl, but realistically, you just got to the team. COVID, you can't practice all this. You get to the AFC Championship game. NFC, Tom Brady, NFC Championship game. That's a hell of a season. I have to say, why is it a legacy thing? Why? Against the Washington football team? Because the greatest debate in sports in the 21st century, basically the first 20 years of the 21st century. The greatest debate in sports, is it more Belichick or Brady? I mean, it's right there with, who do you like, LeBron or Michael Jordan? Because the new generation's deluded into thinking LeBron's better than Jordan. But, it's there. I would say it's number one. Was it more Belichick or was it more Brady? And a lot of that is what this is about, guys, from both guys. No one can tell me otherwise. Of course they have egos, huge egos. That's why they're the greatest who ever did it, each of them. And Belichick, a coach, can keep coaching. Brady's window is limited here. So is he going to do a Joe Montana? When we talk about Joe Montana, really his system quarterback, Bill Walsh, right? What happened when Montana left the Niners because they had Steve Young? He went to the AFC Championship game with the Chiefs. What's Tom Brady going to do without Belichick? Lose in his first playoff game to a 7-9 team that was lucky to be 7-9? If Doug Peterson doesn't go for it on fourth and doesn't yank Jalen Hurts, that's a 6-win team probably. They're not even in the playoffs. You're going to lose to a 7-9 team without Belichick? That's not good for Brady's legacy, and people will look at this evidence now and say, it's more Belichick. That's what these guys are doing right now, and absolutely it will affect his legacy.
I disagree. And look, I mean, you could say, you're disagreeing because you played with him for a long time and you have a couple Super Bowl rings. But look, he's 43 years old. He threw for 40 touchdowns, over 100 QBR this season, brought the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to the playoffs. They haven't been there in I don't know how many years, a long time. So when you look at what he's been able to do at 2007, there you go. I was my second year in the NFL. So that's a long time ago. When I think back on his legacy, you think back on these 6 Super Bowl rings, the 9 appearances that he has, the ultimate goal of being in the tournament. And Bruce Arians is right. When you get into the tournament, you want a Super Bowl ring. That's all you want. You play the game to win Super Bowls. It's not to get to an AFC championship or, look, my AFC championship ring, I don't even know where it's at. I think I gave it to somebody. I don't even have it. So at the end of the day, it's about winning Super Bowls. Tom's legacy is cemented in Super Bowl wins. He has that. Has he, in 07, they should have won that one. Yeah, let that one go. 2012, I was in that one. We let that one go. So he could have more. But at the end of the day, you look at his legacy is what it is on the football field. Tampa, he's done a great job in Tampa for coming in at 43 years old, 40 touchdown passes, 4,600 yards, whatever. I mean, come on. He's done a great job this season. Now, Washington, I think they're going to steamroll Washington. they're going to steamroll Washington. They're going to beat up Washington if they don't win and something happens and Tom, gets hit a million times and he's not able to complete a pass. Will people say, well, it's not the same without Bill Belichick? Sure, but his legacy, I don't think his legacy is affected at all.
Well, see, the thing for me is I'm not going to lie, and I'll confess on national television, I didn't hear a word of Max's argument. I paid absolutely no attention to it because it's not worthy of any attention. And the reason why it's not worthy of any attention is because Max saw how rapidly, Rob, he just skated over Tom Brady. My prediction about him, I was off by 2 or 3 years. Notice how he just slid by that. Didn't even have the decency to pause and say oops or whoops. Or, you know what I'm saying? He didn't even have the decency to do that. He just went, I mean, he was fast. I mean, you remember Road Runner on the cartoons from many, many years ago? Max was faster than that, skipping over that Tom Brady element. He didn't even take the time to just slow down, Molly, and pause and go like this. I told the world this man was on a cliff and then it was a ravine, but at age 43, 40 touchdowns, just 12 interceptions, didn't even have the decency to stop and say, whoops, oops, didn't even do that like he did with Kawhi Leonard. He just went right through it.
Up.
In the end, here's it. Listen, I know you brought it up, but like I said, you brought it up quickly. I didn't say you ignored it. I said you went through it quickly instead of pausing. In the end, what it comes down to is this, okay? This has no effect on Tom Brady's legacy. Ain't nobody gonna think about Tom Brady's legacy based off of this game. Tom Brady's legacy is already cemented. It is untouchable. 6 Super Bowl titles, 9 Super Bowl appearances in his first 18, 19 years in his career. It's a wrap, okay? Remember how awful Peyton Manning looked his last year when they won the Super Bowl in Denver, and it was because of Von Miller and that defense, not him? We don't remember that. We remember he got 2 rings, though. Eli Manning, he's got the 2 Super Bowl rings, okay? That beautiful pass to Mario Manningham, the other one to David Tyree. We know that he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. You know what we're going to be saying about Tom Brady when it's all over? 6-time Super Bowl champion, unless there's a 7th coming. That's what we're going to talk about. He'll take hits immediately over the next week or so if they lose this game. But legacy is the operative word here. And there is nothing that can happen to Tom Brady that is going to touch his legacy. It is in concrete cement. It's done.
I understand why you both would feel that way. There's nothing taking away the 6 Super Bowl championships. By the way, in 9 appearances. And each loss was razor thin. There's nothing going to take that away. But when you're evaluating the greatest of all time, you're comparing him not only to his contemporaries, but to the greatest who came before him and the greatest who will come. The standards are higher. And you start to parse stuff and look for things. So,
are you
for
sure?
example, had Montana fallen flat on his face in Kansas City, people would still be talking about, because they used to do it a lot then. Look, if Dan Marino was with the 49ers, he'd have had all those Super Bowl rings. Montana was lucky to be with Bill Walsh in that situation. But then when he was in another situation, he showed, no, this is Joe Montana. He's got it. He can lead a team not back all the way to the promised land at his age, but to the AFC Championship game. The debate is Belichick or Brady. By the way, Brady looks pretty good right now. Belichick didn't get to the playoffs. He won 7 games with nothing on the team, but he didn't get to the playoffs.
And what are we saying about Belichick?
And now we're looking to...
And what are we saying about Belichick?
And now presumably, Belichick has a larger window still in order to get stuff done. We're saying nice job, 7 wins with no talent on the team. And, right. But if you would have won 2 games this year, we'd be saying different things. If Tom Brady was playing a powerhouse team, you're right. It wouldn't be. He's playing a 7-win team. He's playing the worst team in the playoffs. He's playing a team with an injured old quarterback whose franchise young quarterback is already off the team. Like, they're in disarray on that side of the ball.
Do we get a chance to respond to this?
Sure, they have a defense. They were lucky to win 6 games. You can't lose to that team first round of the playoffs.
Max, you'd have a point if Tom Brady departed from Bill Belichick and went to Tampa and went 2-14. You'd have an argument if he went 5-11 and stunk up the joint. But at 43 years of age, playing all 16 games, completing better than 65% of his passes, throwing 40 touchdowns, and succeeding a quarterback who threw 30 interceptions the year before and dwindling that down to 12, you can crucify him for losing the game. But you can't touch his legacy because at age 43, even you confess going into this game against Washington, I was off by 3 years. I mean, I was wrong.
I
so
think
guess
Tom
what?
Brady's
One game doesn't
excellent
change
recently.
that.
Hey,
One game doesn't change
and
that.
look,
Not
I
the
wanna-
legacy question.
Go ahead, Rob.
Not legacy.
I'm gonna add to this. I played against Peyton Manning his last season. I played against the year that he did right off into the sunset and won a Super Bowl. But he was led by a defense in Denver that was incredible, and he literally couldn't throw the ball 25 yards, 30 yards downfield. When we played against him, we actually said, okay, let him throw the ball into the wind because we don't think he can push the ball down the field. And he couldn't do it. Tom Brady at 43 can still throw the ball 55 yards perfectly into the basket. And we're seeing things that are being done by Tom at 43 that no other quarterback has ever done. Not Joe Montana. Nobody. So he's surpassed that 3-year window of falling off the cliff.
That's why he's
which he
gotta
hasn't
win, Rob.
done because he's
Like,
he's
when
already
I said
won.
the cliff,
He won
I
this
was
year.
expecting.
None of us are predicting
I
he's
was
going to lose.
expecting Tom Brady. I was expecting Tom Brady to be that Peyton Manning you talked about. I didn't think he'd be incompetent at quarterback. I thought he could lead even a playoff team, but he wouldn't be
year in
because
a
of
row,
him
you're
anymore.
wrong.
It's because he had a lot of wisdom
straight
and leadership,
years.
but he wouldn't have the. But he still has the arm. He can still throw the ball. He has every weapon in the world. He has a defense. He has a coach. He's a massive favorite. Of
It's
course,
Friday,
he's got to win.
Max. It's Friday. It's Friday. Can we get a oops or a whoops since it's 3 years?
Want one?
Can we do that, Max? Can we get a whoops or an oops? Can we do that, man? It's Friday, bro. We not back tomorrow. They'll forget about Monday. Can you give us that going into this Friday, Max? Can you give us a whoops or an oops? Can you do that? Give it up, Max.
I will say
Sandwich
this.
chest.
I already said that.
Sandwich
I already
chest,
said
not
whoops
your back.
about LeBron
Your
James
chest.
still being the best player in the world. I already said whoops about the cliff prediction, and you want me to sit here and say whoops again about
say
Tom
whoops.
Brady defying that prediction
3
by
years
2
in
or
a
3
row.
years and still looking excellent?
Whoops, Max. Not your back, your chest. Say it with your chest, not your
Whoops.
back, Max. Not the back.
Just say
the
whoops.
chest.
That's
The
all,
chest,
that's all I
Max.
got. That's all I got. And
Give
it
me some
was a
trivia.
Give it
ravine.
up.
It just turns out the ravine is heading up, not down.
Molly, you let him
But
off
guess
the
what?
hook,
Wrong
Molly. You
trajectory.
let him off the hook, Molly.
Oh my goodness.
He's
I didn't let him off the
cemented
hook. You
his
guys
legacy.
were all over him. You guys had it handled. Oh my goodness. All right,
Yeah,
6
you
playoff
being
games
light.
this
You felt pity
weekend,
for
fellas.
Max, Molly.
I didn't feel pity. I just let it happen. I just enjoyed it. I just need a snack. All right, Monday, I'll see you guys. These playoff games, Rob, appreciate you. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, Max. Bye,